Hey folks, Doc C here again. I'm going to be wearing a couple hats here. I just want you to think of if you're a bigger person, and we got Santa talking to you. Now, the thing of it is, it doesn't matter if you're bigger or not. What happens is a lot of people get bad posture because of work habits, because of the things that we do. Now, I'm going to try and explain why a lot of chairs, especially cars, vehicles, they have a low back support. The reason for the low back support is it helps your spine maintain its position, proper position. You want a cervical curve, a thoracic curve, and a low back curve. Together, because you have those three curves, it's 22 times more dynamically stable and strong in this position than it is if it was absolutely straight, believe it or not. So we want to maintain that lordotic curve, because when the low back is maintained, the head is over the base of support. When you flatten the low back curve out, whether it's a bad seat, bad chair, just bad habits, leaning forward to see things on the computer, when the low back is not supported, you see what happens, where things end up. The head's out here, and you don't want it out here. You want it back where it belongs, okay? So by initiating that curve in the low back, you get that head back where it belongs. It's a lot easier to deal with. So that should be one of the first things you do. If you want good posture and you're sitting, because most of us sit for a living in front of a computer or a truck or something like that. So maintain that low back curve, very important, okay? Now, otherwise, when you lose that curve, a lot of those muscles up here have to act like guy wires to hold the head up. And that becomes just knotted up in here. I'm sure a lot of you have felt that. If you're working a long time on a computer and you're kind of leaning forward, if everything isn't exactly right, you can start to fatigue. And fatigue can create a lot of different problems. Now, what I want you to be able to know is that if the head, if the head's out front and you've been able to get it back, some exercises you can do if you've had a hard time, if the neck's out front like this, it creates sort of a what they call a pronation posture. Right here. See how the head's forward? Okay? We want to be able to bring that head back and to be able to bring this forward. So one of the ways that we do that is you can take a balloon, put it behind your head in bed, just put it in your pillow, and then tuck your chin in and then push back. Just keep the balloon where it is. When you blow the balloon up, let out about half the air so it can be squished. And then put it behind your head as a resistance, tuck your chin and push back into it. Hold it for a 5-second count, then wait 5 seconds, then do it again. So if you do that 3 times in one day, and you do it later on that day, then add 1 repetition. So go to 4 the next day. And what you'll find is as you do that, and you get up to 20 reps like that, what you'll find is that the head starts to move back where it belongs. You don't necessarily have a military posture, it just brings the head back where you want it. Because what happens is a lot of times, if we're heavier people, for women who are bigger here, or just men who have a lot of, if you have a little extra weight, many times it's going to pull you forward. If you're positioned forward, it just makes that upper back much tighter. So you want to be able to maintain proper posture as best you can, because what it'll do is it'll pay off in the end. Now, what group of people do you see in this position? So they're slouching. Imagine I'm on a couch. I'm slouching. I'm playing with my Game Boy. Look familiar? Yeah. Or phone. Some people will be in that position. They play with their phone. So what you want to do with that posture is you want to be able to get them leaning forward, okay? So you want them to come up and sit with the edge of, sit with their knees off the edge of the couch. And then when their knees are down, getting those knees down is like magic. If you can get the bum up and the knees down, that's what draftsmen used to do years ago. You never see a draftsman sit at a normal chair. He's on a stool where his knees can go down and he can sit there for hours on end. If his knees are down, his lordotic curve is maintained, his upper back's curved, they bring their work right up against them. It's a brilliant thing to do. If a person can do that, you'll save your low back, you save your upper back and your neck, and a lot of headaches, literally, okay? So maintaining that proper posture. With those kids, get their knees down, their bum up. Even take another section of the couch, like the cushion, put it on their lap, put another pillow on top of that, get their elbows up, and then they can play with their Game Boy and they're in proper position. They may be wasting time with a Game Boy, but they're having fun. And the thing of it is, at least they're not ruining their posture. So at least let's do that with them. Let's try to help them. help yourself at your desk. It's called ergonomics. It's all part of being able to maintain proper posture, because many people lose a lot of days from work because their spine gives them a lot of problems. And believe it or not, a lot of it starts right down at the bottom in that lordotic curve. Okay, so let's try to maintain that lordotic curve as best we can through proper positioning of the chairs. I think a lot of you have seen my video on my truck, on my old van. I got rid of that thing right after I realized that, because it's the right thing to do. So do your best with maintaining that curve. All right. And if you like what we said today, if you like that little hack, please hit the like button. And if you want to hear more, hit the subscribe button, please. And always remember, Santa says.